The Against All Odds podcast, sponsored by Oak Forest Recovery.
Welcome to the Against All Odds podcast. I am one of your hosts, Rachel. We have RJ and Hunter, and we got my girl, Amanda. Amanda's in the building, Jersey girl. That was weird.
That was amazing.
Fantastic.
That was perfect.
Thanks so much for coming.
Yes, I'm so glad to be here. It's so good to see you.
Yeah, I know. Same. It's my babe.
I feel like you guys hang out a lot, though.
We do. We're literally
You guys
best
see each other a
friends.
lot, I think.
Yeah.
Actually, we've only hung out once.
One time.
Oh, okay.
But it was a whole
But we
weekend.
talk-
It was a
you guys
weekend
got,
of
yeah.
bonding, and now
Yes.
actually, and we talk all the time.
Okay.
We're in a group chat. So I basically know everything about your life.
Everything. Yeah,
Well,
literally. She's seen all of me,
Yeah.
inside and out.
Use your imagination with that one.
Okay, so Amanda was on Dr. Phil, a episode that I remember. I feel like seeing. I don't know if I remember the whole episode, but I feel like I was in my addiction when that came out, and I loved anything that involved other people like me. And I think I remember watching that. So why don't we start at like the beginning of your story and give us some background?
So that aired back in November of 2014. So my sobriety day, I've been sober since September 10th, 2014.
Hell yeah.
So
Oh, wow.
I just took 10 years sober, so that's a whole decade.
Rad.
So
Congrats.
thank you.
So you got sober from Dr. Phil then?
Yes, I got sober from Dr. Phil.
That's
Filmed
dope.
on September 9th. And then so that's why my sobriety date is September 10th. But I am a Jersey girl. So you'll be hearing the accent come out time and time again. But yeah, so I came out here when I was like 25 from Jersey. And I pretty much, so I tell you this part, like, because nothing made me like an addict or alcoholic. Nothing traumatic happened to me. You know, when I was younger, I had a pretty good life, right? Mm-hmm. So I am, I'm one of three girls. And so I'm the middle child. And so I have two sisters. And then my parents they've been together. They've been married for like 38 years, you know? Yeah. I mean, that's like rare. My parents are still together, you know? So, and I grew up pretty much, you know, had everything that everything I needed and most of what I wanted, but it was never enough. Never. That's how I've always felt like it was never enough. And I was a, athlete. Like I was popular.
What kind of sports?
I played softball and basketball, and my dad coached all like the teams, and me and my sisters, and then it was like a family, like where like my mom had dinner on the table every night. Right. My dad worked all day and then would take us to like basketball, softball, and, life was like, good. Yeah. Right. So I just remember like probably my sisters are both one of us as well.
Oh,
so
really?
like that's a part of my story. Like we got loaded together.
And what was the age difference?
So it's 2 years for all of us.
Okay.
Yeah. So like right now I'm 35. My older sister is 37 and my little sister is 33 right now. So all like super close.
Yeah.
But my older sister started getting loaded at like a very young age, and so did my little sister. But for me, like I feel like I was just a typical like high school, like I said, in Jersey, like just getting drunk at a bonfire, passing out in a field, like lying to my parents, like that part, like very typical. And I mean, looking back now, what I know, like, yeah, I was the last one, like drinking with all the guys and everything. And I would smoke weed and stuff, but it wasn't anything crazy.
Right.
So like, I did that, you know what I mean? Like started in like middle school drinking in high school, but already was going into high school as like my older sister's like little sister. My older sister started doing drugs.
What did you think of that at the time?
So that's like why I like resented both of my sisters because I said I never wanted to be like them. So like here I am, like popular, good grades, you know, like like all these things, and I was like disgusted by them. And they had a really like close relationship because they were both like
trauma bonding.
Yeah, and it's like dumb stuff. Like even my little sister smoking a cigarette when she was like 12, I was like, ew, you're disgusting. You know, so that's just like how I looked at it. Literally, like I had this better than kind of like, that's just what I thought. Because when I think of like alcoholics, addicts, for me, I was thinking of like, you know, just like the homeless guy chugging like vodka in a brown paper bag under a bridge, right? And then I'm thinking like an addict, like just the homeless chick with no teeth. You know, like that's just like what I thought. So then like watching my sisters like, you know, just like start to do drugs, and I was just like, ew, because I actually can see what it was doing to them. You know, it's just changing them. They stopped playing sports, you know, they stopped like hanging out with, like they weren't like showing up for like family events, family things. And it was just like a turnoff for me. And I already like knew about like in my family, you know, this disease is like a family disease. So I already like knew like all my mom's family, like they're from out here, like they're all drug addicts, gangbangers. Like, so fun fact, I'm a quarter Mexican.
Are you?
So,
I knew it.
Yeah.
I
so
just
like
knew it.
that's just, my mom's like from out here in Oxnard. Like I already knew. She took us, like she met my dad, and like we all like grew up like, you know, these 3 girls like in Jersey with Jersey girls, you know, like completely like separate from her family and that lifestyle. So, I mean, I just always thought like could never be me, right? Or could never be my family, could never be my sisters. And then watching like it happen to them. And then in high school, like I like again, just graduated. Things are good. Drinking, partying, fun. I mean, like occasional, like hold my hoops, like gonna fight you things when I drink, but that's normal, right? You know, to just like get blackout drunk and like fight people. Like I just think like that's normal. And then what ended up happening was by like when I graduated high school, I had this great job. So this is like also a huge part of my story. I worked in a pharmacy. So I was a pharmacy tech. So I'm 18, work in a pharmacy. My sisters, like they have been to treatment each, like at this point, I'm so disconnected from them. And pretty much like I am the golden child, right? And in my house, it's kind of like you don't like talk about like things. Kind of like you hide your feelings. Like I'm talking like maybe be fighting on the way to like softball practice, like crying, screaming in the car. You get out the car.
Normal.
That's it. You know what I mean? Like no more crying, like you're done. So like that's just kind of like what it was, and everything was very like hush hush, and like so it was just weird, you know, just very, very weird. And again, had this great job. I started going to community college. I just got this car that like I saved up for because, you know, I've been working since I was like 14. And again, don't come from like money, you know, I don't like, which is another thing I always thought if I had money and grew up this way, then my life wouldn't be like this, right? I compared myself to everybody since I was little, just always wanting more. My parents never did enough. And then I met him, the love of my life, you know, and started to party a lot more. And like my story isn't that like a lot of people, you know how they say they take their first sip of alcohol and they're just like, I've arrived, you know, but that's not my story. For me, it was, I just remember one night hanging out with like the boyfriend and a couple friends, and it was like, hey, let's get a 30. And I was like, okay. So I remember like me and the 2 girls, we all split a Roxy 30 in 3 ways. We all threw up, and then we said, should we get another one? Mm-hmm. And I was like, yes, let's do it, And like, I already knew of like, the pills.
Is that what your sisters were doing? So they weren't doing heroin yet. They were doing the pills.
Yeah, they were doing the pills. Cause I mean, like, this was a long time ago. It was a lot of like, that's when the 30s were big,
right. Yeah,
so, this was like before like the pill mill, like era, like everybody. So I just remember doing, and I already knew I worked in a pharmacy. I would count these pills out like daily for people. And I'd be like counting them out like fucking drug addicts. You know what I mean? Like, like I knew. So, but that's why it was so convenient. Once I did that and like, was like, whoa, I worked in the pharmacy and that became my get down, because don't you know, like, we're like smart people. People trust us, right?
Yeah.
I was like doing the inventory at the pharmacy, you know?
And you're
so
like 1 for them, 10 for me.
Yeah. So that's like, it was just like on. And then like, I started, because let me tell you something, the pharmacists, they don't do anything. It's
pharmacy
really
techs.
the techs that do
for
it
sure.
all.
Right.
So they're coming in and like, I'm like filling the scripts, and I'm just like, the way I'm doing it, I'm like, yeah, I'm putting some away from me. And this is like also back in the day when it was like the real Oxycontin, didn't even have the film coat, like those Oxy 80s, like, so, and then they were like becoming discontinued. It's just like, I'm taking those bottles, like, and then I'm having friends come to the pharmacy. I'm filling half their script. Like, you have to split it with me, and like,
right. You had a whole hustle.
Yeah, I had the
you
hustle.
were the inside plug.
Yes.
Wow.
So then, like, I just remember, even like, I'm thinking back to it, I was lying to everybody. Like, I'm not going to tell anybody I'm stealing from the pharmacy. So I'm saying, like, I have this good connect at that point. Like, my sisters, I know that they're doing pills. So like, I would be like, I'm not addicted though.
Yeah.
I'm not addicted to them.
I'm different.
Yeah. So I would be like, oh, I can like ask someone, like I can give you one. So like, it was just like here and there, but like they didn't know the full blown, like, and I didn't really know their full blown like addiction either. Right. So I have the pills. I'm selling a bunch of pills. I have this money. I have the boyfriend. I'm going to community college. Like, things are good. And I mean, that lasted I started that when I was like 18. And then one day I was 22 and I walked into the pharmacy, and I see the managers standing by the time clock. And I was like, took a deep breath. Like, I just knew, like, oh my God, I'm caught. Right. And in that moment, it wasn't like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, I have a problem. Like, it was just like immediately like, fuck, how am I going to get high today? Like, that was just my first thought, because at that point I knew that I was physically addicted to them. Because
do you remember the first time you got sick?
Yeah, it was like, it was one time before I was going to go to work. I didn't like have anything, but I knew I was going to go to work. I knew I was going to get them. And I would literally have so many pills all the time and like hide them in certain places. So I remember searching everywhere,
pulling
for them.
Everything apart.
Under my bed and like my little hiding spots, and just like looking in like, the jewelry box and thinking like,
did you find one?
No, I didn't find one. So
you're tripping.
Yeah, so that's when it was like, oh my God, I just felt like shit.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, but also that relief of knowing I was going to work and I was going to get like more. Because like that feeling when you're like dope sick.
Yeah.
But you're going to get some. Yeah.
Like you're on your way to like get it. So it's you have that little like relief, So it was just like that. And it was one of those days though, because I would immediately go into work. And I'm talking not just like 30s, like I was getting fucking Xanax. Like, anybody needs Suboxone. We even had the morphine lollipops in there. Like, we had the fentanyl patches. Like, it's crazy. You know, like I look back like, whoa, that was like every addict's like dream.
Yeah.
Right.
It was.
You know?
Can confirm.
Yeah. And I was in complete like just living that double life because here I am like judging every addict. Like I can tell who's coming like to get their pills, to get their fix, you know, from the pharmacy. And I'm just like, you know, and just hearing how the pharmacist, how everybody does judge people, you know, I was behind the counter, like judging you as you're coming to pick up your prescription, you know, and then like knowing that I was about to go in the bathroom and sniff like a 30, you know, so it was just this like sick thought. And that was the same thing with my sisters. Like I was still better then because at that point I also think that they did heroin.
Yeah.
I was like, ew.
Yeah. Gross.
Yeah. You know, so because I wasn't there yet. So I walked in, I see them at the pharmacy at the time clock and they're just like, Amanda, come with me. And then they like pull me back in and they're like, I just did it in such a sneaky way. So it was really hard for them to catch me. I don't know if I ever fully like talked about it, but like what I would do is like I would have a pill counter. I would pour them in and then I would count out extra and then I would put like what the customer like needed in their bottle, put it in, and then we would have to clean the pill counter. So after I would like go in with like the napkin tissue, scoop up all the rest, like throw it in the trash and then go like about my day.
Right.
At the end of the night, I would have to take the trash out. So I would take the trash, take it to the back, go back in
Pull
the
the
trash
stuff
That's a
out.
smart. Yeah.
Wow.
and take it all out. So it wasn't like fully, they couldn't like say like, oh, we
Yeah.
saw you.
Yeah, they didn't have physical proof of it happening.
Yes. So I walked out of there and I wasn't in handcuffs. They're trying to get me to sign like, dude, I don't even know like.
So
why.
what did they say? What
They were
was
like,
the conversation
hey,
like?
we think so. One of the pharmacists was a recovering addict actually, and he had like 7 years clean. And his thing was like he was writing himself scripts before in the past, like he really like turned his life around. Like he was a good guy. They thought that I was like, did he make you do this? And I'm thinking like, this poor guy is fucking really
So
clean.
they thought there was this whole conspiracy
Yes,
that
they were
this dude
thinking
was
this whole
getting you to
thing.
do it and you were helping him out.
Yeah, and I was just like, no, like, I remember like it was a yellow notepad. They wanted me to write out a confession, and I was like, because I was like, no, he has nothing to do with it, but like I wasn't fully admitting it, and all I wrote down was like, I am under the influence right now. Like that's what I put. I don't even know why I thought to do that.
So you admitted to so they were like, we know you're doing this, and you were like,
No, you put I'm under the influence
Yeah,
so
that's
that
it.
you wouldn't get in trouble
yes,
for it later.
yeah, I
Because
just
then
put.
anything you said, you were under the influence.
That's what, exactly. I don't even know why I did that or what. Like it was
Smart
just
for her.
that's what I'm saying. So I walked out of there, like not in handcuffs, but enough like shame and guilt to like just looking back. But then I was like, fuck, how am I gonna get
Did it
high?
catch up to you eventually?
No, but
Did you get fired?
I got fired.
Yeah.
I
So
got
that
fired.
you got fired. They were like, we know you're a part of this in
Yes.
some way.
Yeah,
You're
and
not
they,
admitting it. You're under the influence is what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
They were like, we're done.
yes, and I got fired. So
Yeah.
and then like the story goes is like that when I got fired is like the first day that I did heroin because I didn't have anything. I didn't want to be
Right.
like, you know, so like that was like the first day. And then I did heroin for like 2 weeks. And then I was thinking like, are they going to press charges against, because I was a pharmacy tech. I had to have my license for that. Like
Right.
all this stuff. And I didn't really know. I'm like, are they going to press charges? So like for 2 weeks after that is the first day I went to treatment. But again, like not because I thought I had a problem. It's because I was scared that legal issues were going to come from that, you know?
Right.
So, and yeah, so I did heroin for a little bit and that kind of was like, I was like, oh no. You know
are
what
your
I mean?
sisters involved at this point, or is it just like you on your own?
No, because at that point, my sisters are, my older sister's in Florida
Okay.
in treatment that my dad just practically like like, again, don't have money. My dad practically just signed something over to get her the help, right? And then my little sister is in Texas because she married some guy in the military. So that's where it was. So it was just kind of like me, right?
Yeah.
And then I remember saying, like, after 2 weeks of kind of just like trying to like lie to my parents about like going to work and like what I was doing and stuff, I stopped going to school, college, like everything.
Yeah.
And I said like, hey, I went to my mom. I'll never forget. I went to my mom, was like, hey, like, I need to go to treatment. And she was like shocked.
She had no idea what you were doing. Oh,
that's what I'm saying. Like, it was like but their focus was on my sisters. Again, like
right.
I'm the good child, right?
Yeah.
So I was so scared to tell my dad because like I'm kind of like daddy's like girl, you know? So, and my dad, I don't know about you, but nothing gets me more than like it's not like you're angry or anything, but you hit me with the
I'm disappointed in you.
you know, and it's just like, no. So like the disappointment, and I was like, oh my God. So I ended up going to treatment, and I went there for the first time, 22 years old, going to treatment in Jersey. And I'm just like, I don't belong here, you know?
I'm not like these people.
No, like I just compared. Just everybody, like the girls in there were like selling their ass, you know, and like they've been shooting heroin for a really long time, you know, and then the ladies in there are like hiding their like vodka and laundry detergent, you know, from like their husbands, and I'm like, girl, you know, and just like I just couldn't relate.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I didn't hear a damn thing in there. And then I lasted like 14 days in there because I thought I needed a quick detox. Like I just thought at that point I'm physically addicted. That's it. If I just stop doing drugs, because I'm not even thinking drinking anything. I'm just thinking like I need to stop doing drugs and then I'll be completely fine.
Right.
So after 14 days, I like call my parents. I'm like, I'm good. And they come pick me up. And then that first night I got high. I did a 30 and I had this plan that I wasn't going to get high 3 days in a row.
It's such a normal.
I've done the same
we've
thing.
talked about
Yes.
that.
That's my
we've talked
story
about
for
that
sure.
multiple times in the
Yeah.
last
It's like,
couple
okay,
days.
well, I know
It takes
I
this
can
many
use-
days to get
if I
sick.
use
Yes.
once,
Yeah.
just one day, I'll be
Yeah.
fine. Just
Yeah.
you can't use multiple days in a row, especially not 3, but 2 maybe.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. 2 maybe, but definitely not 3.
Yeah.
So it was like, I just can't. And then what ended up happening was like I said, like my sister's in Florida at the time. And I was like, Jersey's the problem. I gotta get out of here. That's like, was like my thought process. I was like, whoa, like
It's not me. It's Jersey.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I ended up going out to Florida to visit my sister in like her halfway house, and she was like killing it. And I didn't really have like this great relationship with them because they were always so close. They bonded with like, you know,
Yeah, through their addiction.
Yeah.
And going to
So
rehab.
I didn't have this super great relationship, but then here I was just like them, you know? So it was like, let me go to Florida. And we decided to get an apartment together. And like my dad helped us get this little like apartment, and he got us like each like a bed and like a couch and a TV. And it was good. And I would say within like 2 months, by 2 months, me and my sister we sold everything in that apartment. We were sleeping on an air mattress together that had a hole in it. So we would wake up every morning
Yeah, on
like
the floor.
on the
Yeah.
ground. And we were just like doing like sniffing 30s out there. Cause she had the same thing. Like, well, it's not like she's doing like heroin, you know, like we just thought that
It's better.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we're just sniffing 30s out there, but like we sold everything. It just became like so bad and toxic. But there we were like bonding, you know, getting high together, like look at us, you know. And then I would say, like I said, 2 months into that, I was like, my sister's the problem. She's crazy. Like I have to get away from her, you know, like again, that just like victim mentality that gives everyone else's fault, everyone around me.
Right.
So I ended up going back to Jersey, and I was like, I was sick. I had to drive my car back to Jersey, and I think I had like 2 pills on me. So I did that. And then by the time I got home to Jersey, like I was sick, but my little sister, like her and the guy like separated. So now at that point she's back in Jersey, my little sister, and I get back and she's getting high, and I was sick. She was asleep, nodded out in her bed. And I just got home, like just pulled in. I'm saying hey to my mom and dad. And then I go in her purse and I find heroin while she's sleeping. And yeah, and I did some heroin and I felt like okay again. And then there I am now, me and my little sister getting high together, you know? And then I'm like, okay, how am I going to get money? That's what I'm saying. All these things. And then I start the people that we meet, right?
Yeah, right.
And like, again, like I was just not supposed to be this person. Like I was supposed to like, I think I was like 23 and I was supposed to have this like, you know, awesome like career with this awesome guy and like this white picket fence. And like, this was going to be my life. Like, so this was just like crazy to think where I was. And me and my little sister, I meet these kids and we start robbing houses. But I had a car, so I was just like
The driver.
Getaway driver.
Yes. And I'm just thinking like, but I didn't care because I was like making a quick, you know, just making some money real quick, and that's, I just needed to like continue to get high. And then I live in Jersey, so like my get down is Camden. I don't know if you guys ever
Camden.
like heard anything about Camden. Okay, well like it's scary out there. It's like one of the most dangerous cities in the world. You gotta
And
like
Patterson as well, right?
yeah, I mean, it's gnarly. And I'm going out to Camden and it's just like, it's all like sets. Like you don't have a straight like dealer. It's just,
Yeah.
you go up to like a set,
On the
there's
corner.
lookouts. Yeah. You know, and you're just like, I'm like walking down. This is where, you know, like
The ball sack.
yeah. This is where I'm just like walking down an alleyway and just trusting this guy to give me like dope from under his ball sack, you know?
Yeah.
And just handing him like money for a bundle, right? And just getting that and just like, so that's why. And then I'm just like, oh my God, every day just driving to the city and like with my little sister, and then we're just robbing houses and then hanging out with these weird people. And I was like, okay, this is it. This is my life. Like, and my parents are just like, they're both working, you know, every day. Like it's really hard to, they're not really like fully aware of like, you know, what's going on
Right.
with their daughters. Right. I don't know. Cause like I look back, I'm like, it was so chaotic. How? But they were just trying to survive
Yeah.
too,
Right.
you know? And I'm shocked that they made it out of that, like still married together. Cause it was just crazy.
Right. Yeah, what a tough situation.
what I mean.
Three daughters, all in active addiction at the same time.
It's fucked
I
up.
mean, wow.
It's like, damn, not
Yeah.
even one
Not
of your
even one.
kids.
Right.
We're all
Yeah.
fucked up. Yeah.
Yeah, and using together and like, I mean, that
Yeah.
is, you know,
That sucks.
yeah, that's,
Oh,
that's
God.
thick.
Yeah. And I had 2 little ones. So it's like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
But yeah, that sucks. Mom, Dad, you did a great job.
You did great.
You did great. But so then this is where it gets crazy, because now my older sister comes back from Florida because she lost everything out there. My dad had to go like out there and like save her, like bring her back physically, you know. Now all 3 of us are getting high in my parents' house. And I'm talking, there's just like chaos, like fights, the physical, like I just remember like holding my mom's purse, like fighting with her, like give me the damn purse, like I didn't want to do that, like, but I had to. And in between that, there's like, I stole checks from my dad and like writing like checks out. And then he went to high school with the bank teller, and she's calling my dad saying like, Rich, like, Amanda's here. Like, I lived in this small town. So it's just like, and then again, like the stealing and just, at that point, me and all my sisters are like in and out of like detoxes in jail, like getting arrested constantly, going to a quick like 7-day detox. Like we didn't have insurance, right? That's why I'm like so big on like, I was scholarshiped out here, and I'll never forget that. But like, I didn't have insurance, didn't have money, and one of us would go to a detox, come out, the other ones are still like getting high. And it's like these treatment center, I'm talking like they're just cockroaches, like, on the ground. It was just like, and I'm just thinking to myself, what am I doing here? But still, it wasn't like enough. I would get out and be high right away. There was never no plan to stop. I don't know. Like, I just didn't think it was like possible. Like I was like kind of living in acceptance that this was going to be my life. This is who I am, and we didn't even have, like, my dad took all the door knobs off of all the doors in the house. So I couldn't pee in privacy. Like, couldn't shut the door to the room. Like,
it's just trying to do anything you can.
Yeah. And I remember like how like just delusional and sick that we can get. I remember coming home one night, being somewhere with some weirdo getting high, just weird things. And like my dad had on the kitchen table, had all the trash like from my room like dumped out on the kitchen table. And I was smart. Like I would go out to like the dumpster, throw stuff away, but like he got a little tissue with some blood on it, and like a syringe in there, and like maybe it was just like, and he just like had it out on the table, and he's like, look at this, what's this? And my first thought to say was, ew, you went through my trash? Like, you're disgusting. And I'm like, she's like, Amanda, there's like, dope bags and like a syringe. Like, what are you talking about right now? But it was just like, again, like, no, like, and that was just like, and funny thing, like he would just always say like, where are all the fucking spoons in the house? Just the spoons missing, just like weird things, and could never like show up to like family events like anymore. And I mean, because it came to the point where it wasn't like, like life started getting in the way of like my addiction. It's just like, my grandmom died and her funeral's on this day. Like, no, we have to move it. Not like, not this day, not this time, because I have to go do this time, like, and by that point, which like, it also talks about like, and it shows on the shows, like, and something I never thought I would do is just like, me and my sisters, the way that we were getting money, like, okay, yeah, the stealing, all that. We came to the point, it's like, we're like, the get down for a while was we're like sugar daddy, like, and it was just like, what am I doing? Like, my parents didn't like teach me this, you know what I mean? Like, this is just like sick. This is not it right now for me. Like, and again though, like I was just kind of like, okay, like this is just going to be it. And it would be like my parents like, just stop getting high. And it's just so hard. Like when somebody says that to you, it's just like, I promise I could swear like I was going to really stop.
For sure. Yeah, every time.
Tomorrow,
right.
But tomorrow, you know what I mean? Tomorrow, I'm going to stop tomorrow. But it just, I couldn't help it. That's when I realized like, yeah, I'm getting high, like against my will. Like,
yeah.
Right.
I have no control over it. Like, I'm gonna do what I have to do. It didn't matter. I'm just gonna get high. Like, and I wasn't the type of person that, like, I got high for a very long time because I was never gonna be dope sick. You know, like, there's just no way I'm gonna figure it out. Right. And I'm so, like, in and out of detox and quick treatment centers along with my sisters, in and out of, like, getting arrested in Camden. They, like, knew me and my sisters out there, the cops. And even all, like, the homeless people out there, all the guys on the set, they called us Snow Bunny, just me and my sisters. And, like, you know, and it was just became, like, our lifestyle pretty much. And I remember one night, like, my little sister just got out of jail. She was in there for like 4 months. And what ended up happening was, and I tell this part of the story because it's just, like, crazy. Like, who would have, like, thought? My dad, he was obsessed with Dr. Phil. And he would always have him on the TV, or he would cut out newspaper articles. Remember those? Remember newspapers? Like, with Dr. Phil on there, and just, like, leave him out on the table. Dr. Phil. Yeah. So I was like, it was another night of chaos, like, just fighting craziness. And I wrote a letter to Dr. Phil. So I am the one that wrote the letter. Wow. And asked for help. So it wasn't like my parents or I wrote the letter just one night, like, hey, like, I sent a picture of me and my sisters because we don't look like your typical, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, again, this image that people have of what alcoholics, addicts look like, it's just not, you know, it's not like us. Right. So, and then I just explained, like, our life, like, waking up and what it's like. And, like, my older sister had, like, she had a daughter. And so, like, putting her through that, and then my parents, and just, like, what we were doing. And I wrote that letter, and
did you tell anyone else about it?
No.
Okay. Wow. You just sent it in.
Yeah. Just sent the letter in, and then just, like, that was it, you know, never expecting to hear anything. Right. And then, my little sister just got out of jail. I just got arrested again, like, but I got ROR'd because the jail was full, and it's just like, and then I had a voicemail from the producers of Dr. Phil. And I wrote that letter, though, like, 2 years prior to this. Oh, so really? I wrote the letter, like, it took 2 years.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, for them to reach back out.
Yeah, it took 2 years. So that's what they called, basically saying, like, hey, are you guys still pieces of shit?
Yeah.
You know, like, 2 years later.
Are you still alive?
And I'm like, yeah, we're still pieces of shit.
I just got out of jail.
Yeah, so that's what I was like, oh, this worked out. And I knew that, again, like, I don't even know what we were thinking. I remember telling my parents, and they were just like, what? But I knew that we would get help. I knew that you go on Dr. Phil and they send you to treatment. Right. You know, so, like, that was just my whole, like, thinking behind it. Not realizing that millions of people are about to see, like,
the family drama.
Yes. Yeah. Like, you know, like, I was just thinking about the help.
Yeah.
You know,
just get me on there, get me into treatment.
Yes. Right. So they sent someone, they were like, we want to do a show on addiction next week. So they send somebody down, just one camera guy, Steve. And he came down from Hollywood, came to our house.
It was that quick. Like a week later. You couldn't prepare for it.
Nope, just a week later.
Wow.
I know. And he came down, and he just, like, followed us around like our normal get down of, like, us getting high. Nothing was like,
Did it feel weird to do all that with someone right there?
People were like, oh, was it, like, staged? The only thing that was, like, he asked us to do that we didn't usually do, he asked us to all get high in the same room. And, like, we didn't do that because, like, I mean, like, I had shitty veins still to this day. It's, like, it's just, like, awful. Like, Not like I shoot heroin now.
No, but when you get your blood drawn.
To this day.
Yeah. To this day, I gotta hit my neck. Yeah.
But like when I go to when I had
Get your
a baby.
blood drawn. Yeah.
You gotta go to the doctor. You
gotta go to do things that you're supposed to do now. Yeah, so very bad veins. But so we would all do like in separate rooms, you know, like one in the bathroom and like the other one in the room, like living room or something. But
yeah, the ritual was alone.
Yeah, you know, so he asked us to all get high in like one room, which we did, and it was just like kind of like weird. But that was it. Everything else wasn't staged. We begged him for money. He wouldn't give us money. He did got us food one time. We asked but he couldn't give us money. But followed us around, and then it just happened so quick. Like that was for 2 days, and then we flew out on September 8th or September 7th, I think, of 2014. And then they flew out my parents like the day before to get their like interviews, because they like basically, you know, like Steve's like asking us these questions, and like that's what I'm saying, like it's kind of like a blur, you know, and I've only watched the show like twice, so like I even forget like
but
the
they gotta
interviews.
piece the whole story together and build a narrative. And
so then we flew out there, and it kind of like trips me out because, again, still not fully aware of like what we're about to get into, but I know like they put you up at the Roosevelt, okay, and that's where like we brought heroin with us because and the East,
gotta stay well.
And the East Coast, it's like all, I guess like people out here call it like China. Yeah. But because it's all like black tar out here. So like we brought all of our dope with us. And like I remember on the flight, like I was so like sick, not withdrawing, but I was just nervous. And then like when we got to LAX and I saw like my bag come down from baggage claim and drop, I was like,
oh, I'm good.
Yeah, like we're good, you know? So they put me and my sisters in one room, my parents in another room, and we're just like getting high. And then it's like kind of funny, like we're staying at this nice hotel and we're, you know,
shooting dope.
Yeah. And the day before, like this is how like weird, and like I don't think my parents fully were aware of what was about to happen either. Like we all went on like Hollywood Boulevard and we're walking to see the stars. And like I remember like I even had pictures of like us and my mom like with Disney characters like fucking Donald Duck and Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, dressed up walking down the sidewalk.
And we're in a picture with them, and we're like it's just like I was just like, now I look back at this, what was that? Yeah. What were we all doing? One big happy eerie. One big happy family, you know? And then even like that's like a full circle moment. Like that night at the Roosevelt, me and my sister saw Brandon Novak.
Oh shit.
And he was loaded there. And we were on the smoking section there at the Roosevelt, and he was all loaded, and he like gave us his book. I thought he was sober. I don't know. He gave us his book. I mean, I was definitely like, what? So it was a cool like full circle moment when I saw Brandon Novak in New York.
Yeah.
To be like, hey, dude.
Did he remember?
No, he didn't. And he was like, but he said, yeah, that's where I stayed. I'll get fucked up and stay at the Roosevelt. And I was like, I saw you, you know? So it was super cool, like that full circle like moment, seeing him and sharing that story with him. But we saw him, and then, September 9th, that morning, woke up, got high, and headed to, like, the set of Dr. Phil. And again, this whole time, we're in talk with, like, the producers. Like, I don't even know what we were expecting, but, like, it's TV. And if you ever watch Dr. Phil, like, I should have, like, known, you know? But, we did our last shot, like, cause we walked in there, like they wanted to search our luggage. We were like, what, you know? So we did everything before we went like in there, cause they do like hair and makeup.
Yeah. It's a long ass time.
Yeah. Like it's just so crazy to think like, they did our hair and our makeup and getting our outfits picked out. And then we walk on set, and already, like, my parents were already out there, and me and my sisters, like, they're like, all we hear is like, and now here they are, and we walk out, and like, nobody's clapping. Like, the audience ain't clapping, nothing. And we look behind the big screens, like the huge screens behind my parents, and all you like see is this fucking shooting heroin. Like,
the scenes of you guys.
Yeah, you see it all.
And the audience is just shocked.
And my parents, because think about
They've
it.
never seen that before. Yeah.
Think about it. Your parents, like, they all know, like, that we're drug addicts and stuff, but usually your parents don't want you to shoot heroin, you know? Or, like, get to see the things that we were doing to get money. Like, they're playing that, like. So it was already like, oh, God, what do we do? You know, like, what are we doing?
You're like, JK, I actually don't want to do
like,
this.
We should turn around, because, like, then we sit in those chairs, and he just starts going, like, on us, just like, are you high right now? You know, I'm like, yeah. We're like, like, you know, and just like, how did you get it here? Do you drive on my streets? Like, you could kill my family. Like, crazy stuff. We're just like, what? And then it's like, and then he's looking at my, like, we're just like,
so Dr. Phil, it's so good,
right?
Dude.
And then he's looking at my parents like, this is your fault, you know? Because again, like, it's TV, like, you know, and of
they
course,
need those ratings.
So he's blaming like my parents, and we're just like, oh God, this is really awful. Like,
how did your parents react to it?
I mean, my mom is like, God bless her, but she was like an enabler, you know? And like, I feel bad, but we didn't give her a choice, because it was just like, hey, you're either going to give me $20 right now, like, or I'm going to show up at your work and cause a scene, right? Or like, she would be like, I gave them $20, but they said they needed $10 for gas and 10 for cigarettes, you know? But like, she like knew. And then my dad was like, yeah, like Dr. Phil, like, it was like a whole like meme. Like, he actually says to my dad, like, grow a pair, Dad, like, grow a pair of balls, you know, like, you got no balls, grow a pair. And like, says that to my dad. And like, you know, and my dad, like, what do you do? Like, all 3 of your girls are heroin addicts. Are you going to kick them out? You know, like, what are you going to do? It's just a really tough place to be in. Sure. And that's like where the fight was. Like, my dad was like, and like, it's just harsh, but it's the reality. Like, my dad would say, like, we would say, I'm going to kill myself. Like, you know, I'm going to kill myself. He was like, do it. Fucking do it. You know? And like, but that's just where it takes you. That's where the chaos is. Like, he didn't mean that. And just like, I didn't mean it, but like, that's just where it was. Right. And he just, he was miserable, but he didn't kick us out. So like, the show goes on, and then they say like, okay, now here's the deal. Dr. Phil says, like, you guys are all going to go to treatment. You're going to be separated. You're never going to go back to your parents' house, like this whole big thing, you know? And like, I mean, we were just like, okay, we're about to get scholarship to treatment. We're about to get help. So as soon as I walked off set, I got right into a limo, and I know, got right into a limo, and they like drove me down to Orange County, and I went to an all women's treatment center in Orange County. And I don't even know how they picked where we went, but like my older sister got sent to South Padre Island, a treatment center out there, and then my little sister went to Orange County as well. I didn't know that because we didn't have like communication or anything, but that's where like they sent her to. But hers was like a mixed place. Mine was like an all women's one. And I went there, and I remember just like being like so scared, but for the first time kind of just like, I'll do whatever, you know? And it was like this bougie treatment center. Again, I'm used to cockroaches, you know, and like there's a chef cooking, no cockroaches. A chef is like cooking for us. And I'm in there with like all these like young girls. I mean, like, you know, I was 25 at the time. They're like 18, 19, 20, you know, they had a party. The parents got called. Like, they got called. Like, they got sent to treatment, and they're really good insurance. And they got like $100 to go to Rite Aid because we got to go to Rite Aid. You know, like, and so like it was just a really big wake up call. Like, seeing like wow, like I'm here fighting for my life right now. Like, I'm given this opportunity. Am I going to take it? Right. And like, for me, I mean, I work a 12-step program. So like that treatment center, like I remember they brought us to a meeting. It was a mixed meeting, like huge. Like, I mean, there was like 150 people there. All the girls got like dolled up to go to this meeting.
As you do.
Of course.
You have to.
Which meeting hall was it? Do you remember?
Yeah, it was at the Newport Beach Alano Club.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And like I went to this meeting, and I mean, I got nothing. Like, I didn't even pack well. I got like just sweatpants. Like, it was just like awful. I'm still like, you know, withdrawing. I'm still like just dope sick, like just feel like shit. And we go to this meeting, and I raise my hand, and the girls in the treatment center are just looking at me like, oh, God, what are you doing right now? You know? And I just raised my hand, and I was just like, I need help. Like, and that's not me, because like me, like it takes me, even to this day, sometimes I have to get in a lot of pain to ask for help. It just sucks, but it's just like my get down, right? So I just like, I said I need help. And at that point I was just like, what am I going to do? You know what I mean? And like, boom, I just got like right into it. Like, someone just asked, like, are you willing to go to any lengths to stay sober? I didn't know what that meant, but I just like got right into it. Right. You know? So that's like the journey started there. Again, like still just terrified, but that's where like then things started like coming together. Right. I got that get well job, which is at the latest thing, the recovery store, which I still work at to this day, you know? Wow. So I got that job, but already thinking, I'm a felon. Who's going to hire me? Like, you know, like all these things, like I don't have a license. I don't have anything. What am I going to do? Like, she hired me. And then like, I was looking at a lot of legal stuff, right? How I'm like, am I going to have to go to jail sober? All this stuff. And I had over 150 people write character letters for me to go to. Wow. Yeah. Like just like things like that. And like, just started like meeting all these people, like I'm a like true believer, like of like how my God works in my life and puts these people in my life, and like it connects us in a way, and like just all like the puzzle comes together, right? And like that's how like God shines through. And also just like that, who the hell gets sober like on Dr. Phil, like, you know, like I knew like in that moment, like something like I have a purpose, right? So that's like where I was just like, okay, let's go. Like, let's just like do this. And I started to like put in the work. And I mean,
did you believe in God then?
So like my connection with God was, God, please don't let me get pulled over today. Mm-hmm. God, please like let me get told. Prayer, yeah. It was just like, that's like all it was. And I really had, I mean, I was like lucky enough. I would say that like, you know, the 12-step program, like made me see God, you know, like clear, but like, I wasn't super like angry, you know, at God at the time. I don't know. Like I was pretty like open to it. Again, like
what's God to you today?
God to me today is, I would say like people, just like, you know, just people like around me. I could truly see like even things that I have gone through, even the struggles in sobriety. I'm like able to see like, oh, I'll meet somebody and they're going through the same exact thing that I went through. And now I see why God put me through that, you know, back in that time. So it's really just a lot through people. And I also try to like, just like the gratitude in life. Like I see God a lot when I'm like driving, just like, dude, living in California and just like the palm trees and just the like beauty. Yeah. You know, so I'm very like open-minded today to that, and even, and like, so in early sobriety, because a lot of people will like ask, like, again, like I had this still kind of thinking like I just have a problem with drugs, right? I haven't had a drink in probably like 15 years, like, but it's because like when you're shooting heroin, who wants to drink?
You're worried about a drink.
Yeah. It's gonna ruin my high, or like it just wasn't like a thing, right? So like, even I just remember and like thinking, okay, maybe I could drink. I'm working this program, but like maybe I could drink. But then boom, like I watched like the good, the best friend that you get when you're newly sober in your treatment. Like I watched like her drink and boom, and then like the boyfriend, he was just a drug addict too. So I watched him drink, boom, didn't work out. My sister, she just at 6 months, like she, like my little sister was like, no, I'm going to like smoke weed. This isn't for me. And then my older sister, she probably got like, maybe she got like a year sober. She was like super into it, like with me, and like, we started talking and like, developed like this relationship. And then she decided this program wasn't for her, and like, it kind of was just like, damn, I just watched like God, like these things like happen to other people, right? And God put them in my life at that time to like show me like, okay, yeah, this isn't going to work. So what am I going to do?
How are they doing now, your sisters?
So they don't do what I do, but they are doing like good. So they both live in Texas. Like we actually all went, I've been back on the show like 3 times, but we actually all went back on the show one time. And, Dr. Phil's like, and they're all here and they're all sober. I'm like, you know what I mean? But they like, it's not a 12-step like Dr. Phil isn't 12-step program. Like we're still considered a success story because we are all doing well. Right. Yeah. So they don't do, but like, that's the thing. I'm a very big, like, I've opened my eyes like a lot, not everybody needs to do like what I do. And I'm very big on that because we're coming up on like 6 years. So February 9th of 2019, my sister-in-law, she was like the best. She was like one of my best friends. She so me and my husband are both sober. All she knows is like us, like, like robbing, stealing, in and out of jail, like dope sick, like that's all she knows, right? So she was like definitely one of us. She couldn't like tell because she would drink, but not every day. Wasn't waking up with the shakes or anything like that. But she compared herself, and I started to see that like she definitely needed some help, but she wouldn't like get the help. So like I was like angry at her. And yeah, February 9th, she killed herself in a blackout. And like, that's like my in-laws, like, or my family will never be the same. Right. Like, and it's because like, she couldn't like ever admit, like identify, she just, so I'm like very big on saying like, it does not matter like what you do, what substance you did, like it doesn't matter. And I wouldn't even care. I wish today she was here with a drink in her hand. Like I wouldn't even care. You know what I mean? And like, that's just like the reality of it. Like, it's just so painful, like, cause again, like that could have been me. I don't know about you guys, but I've been in that dark place that I can think about how the moment, like probably that happened, like that feeling that she felt, like you've been in that dark place, but like, here I am, right? Like, it's just not her story. And like, again, like my kids, like they don't know her. Like, it just really, like, it just sucks. So like, I'm very big on, like, it just doesn't matter, like, what you do. Like, obviously, like, just reach out, ask for help. Like, we're here. And like, being on, like, social media these days, and like, I don't really care what you do. Like, I don't care if you're, if you're not homeless and like shooting heroin anymore and you want to smoke weed and like you're doing good, like I really just like don't care, like, like
Right.
that's up to you, like, but this is what I do, right? And this is what worked for me. And again, like it's easier for like me to say that to like strangers and stuff, but like with my sisters, like I was screaming like at them like 4 years ago, like, go to treatment, do this.
It's hard with your loved ones.
That's what
like,
I'm
it's
saying.
different.
Like it goes out the window.
It's
like,
different.
It's so rough, but like it's only because I wish that everybody got to feel the freedom that I feel today. That's like where that comes from. It comes from fear of it, what happened to my sister-in-law happening to you,
Right.
or like it just like, so that's where like that all comes from. And that's what in sobriety, like the last 10 years, it's been a lot of like ups and downs. Like I have like a really good life. I got to do like a really cool shit, like sober. And I never thought like I got married sober. And I was one of those people. I like have heard you actually say this before. Like I remember saying in treatment, like, how am I ever gonna like not drink on my wedding day, like toast the champagne when I didn't even have a boyfriend back then or anything, I'm like, girl, like, so like, but I was able to get married, like, and like sober, travel. And it's actually like funny. Like I met my husband on Tinder, and in the my Tinder profile it said, I don't drink, but I'm a good fucking time. Boom, swipe right, like ring, got it, like, so that's like, it's just so funny. Like, but like meeting my husband, like he's like sober too. And like,
was he sober when you guys met? So you were both sober.
Yeah, he was sober. And then like right after, like right when I took my 1 year, he decided that like maybe like he wanted
to try it out.
Yeah. So like I watched that like happen, you know what I mean? And that lasted like 3 months. So, but yeah, he got me early. Like we've been together for like 9.5 years. So we've been together since I was like newly like sober, but I just continue to do like all the things that I needed to do. It's like never changed. Like I continue to just constantly put one foot in front of the other, show up even when I don't want to. And it's like going through a lot of things, I've like stayed sober. So it just like works, So, and like, yeah, me and my husband have like a healthy relationship today. Like gross. Like, like that's just, we communicate with each other. That's sick. Like, right. And like, I have I'm in charge of 2 little people.
Babies.
Yeah. So my daughter's 3 and then my son is 6. So I never thought that, I could be like a mom, I couldn't even brush my hair without getting high, like let alone like how was I ever gonna take care of like two little ones, be in charge of their life, and I have like a really good relationship with my parents. Like they come out and visit, like all the time, and I have a good relationship with my sisters, and we all have like a really good, like we got a family chat going, like it's just like, I don't know, like I see like those families sometimes, like I don't even understand how, like the healthy family, all their kids went to college. No one's like, everyone's great. They're all sitting in the living room eating dinner and like, like it's just like crazy. But like we are actually like, we like that right now, when they all come to visit, like we're just like super close. And yeah, and like I still like again work at that like recovery store, and I help like a lot of people out. That's what gets me going. And like kind of like, like how I meet a lot of people is like sharing my story, because which is crazy, because for a long time, like I hid this, like I lived that double life. I was too scared to like, you know what I mean? Like, and like, I was never going to tell you like, like, oh, I'm a drug addict, I'm alcoholic, like no way. And like now, like obviously millions of people have seen that from Dr. Phil, and but I just started to realize like, hey, if I can just help one person, like that's all that matters. And
do you have people recognize you from it?
Oh yeah. So even like when I met my husband like told my mother-in-law that he was like dating this chick. She was like, send me a picture. And like he sends her a picture, and then like time goes by, like he said it was like a half hour, and then his mom texts back like, tell her that she looks way better than she did on Dr. Phil.
Wow.
And like, oh my gosh, you know. And then obviously like, yeah, a lot of people like will say like, oh my God, I remember you from like Dr. Phil. So yeah, and it's just crazy because that person is so far from the person.
Yeah.
That was also so long ago.
Yeah, it was so long ago. But they air that show every year. You'll get that.
It's a good one.
Yeah, you'll get that repeat every year. Like they redo the episode, and I just remember like everybody in my hometown like just resharing it. You know, I'm just like, oh
like,
my God. Yeah.
She's famous.
No, and it was just like, but I'm talking like, it was just like bad because they were just like, again, like, oh, we were known as like the Holloway sisters, like all three of them, all the fuck ups, you know?
Right.
So now it's just like crazy because now so many people even go up to my mom like back home and just like, oh, your daughters are like such like an inspiration. You know, and like that's just like huge because before they didn't even want to leave their house when it aired, like because they were just so like embarrassed.
Right.
But again, like nobody like talks about like, you know, this, but then like, what do you know? Like they're like reaching out to my mom saying, oh, like, oh, my daughter's going through the same thing.
Right.
You know, but everybody is just so like, it's just like the shame behind it all. So just now to just see like we are all doing like well. You know, and like things you can turn your life, and we're very lucky. Like before, like, because even like, you know, like 10 and a half years ago, you know, it was just kind of like some good old heroin. Now it's not.
Yeah, it's totally different.
So like, I can't even tell like my like sponsees or anybody. It's like, you can't go out and get your experience anymore. Like I can't say that anymore because you're going to go out and die, you know? So like, it's just like so sad that like, yeah, we're very lucky. Like I know I have a friend actually that him and his two brothers are all out in Santa Ana homeless, like getting high. They're all from Jersey. Like I know the mom, and like, dude, like they're all high. They're all like, that could have been me and my sisters, you know? And it's just so, we're just very lucky to be, you know what I mean, like alive and like where we're at. So that's why I continue to just like constantly like just reach out to people and share my story because, you know, I'm not that like homeless drug addict. Like I could be, you know what I mean? But like, and that's one thing though, like, I don't know about you guys, but like, I'll never forget where I came from. Well, again, it's really hard, like not to. Again, you can go and like watch. I can watch myself, like, you know, get high. But again, like I just won't forget where I came from. I know that that could be me. Right. You know, and that's like
so easily and so quickly too. Right.
Yeah, and that's like, you know, the people like that better. Like I'll never that better than like. It's just like, it's such a turn off, like, cause I know like that could be me. Like, so yeah, it's just been like a crazy ride, you know, to think of like where I was like 10 years ago, even where I was 5 years ago, where I was 1 year ago. Like I always like to say and like constantly remember like me compared to me, I'm doing good.
Doing great.
For sure.
You know?
It can be really easy to kind of lose gratitude as you get further into recovery and you become less connected to sort of that daily grind and that hustle.
Yeah, because you remember like when you're newly sober and like I was grateful for like my twin bed.
Hot meal.
Yeah, you know?
Cooking you some dinner.
Yeah.
You know? Or like music.
The little things.
You know?
The little things.
Yeah. And then time goes by and then
life
you're like,
starts to become life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know? And it's like you've got responsibilities and bills and all these other things. And it's like things kind of start to get drowned out a little bit.
No, I know. And that's what I'm saying. Like, you know how like you just constantly, you want to like grow up so bad. So your parents or whoever can tell you to stop, like, you know, telling you what to do and you could be free. And like now 35, I'm like, can someone just tell me what to do
literally.
every day of every second of the day, please?
Yeah,
Because this
for
sucks.
sure.
Tell me what to cook to
Adulting
dinner.
sucks.
Yeah.
Cook for dinner for the rest of my life. Tell me exactly what meals. Give me a plan of everything that I need to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you said it, like, just to remain, like, grateful.
Yeah.
Very grateful.
Yeah. It's, congrats.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Thank you.
I mean, just the miracle of you sending that letter in.
I know.
Yeah.
And then 2 years later.
I know. And
get a
under,
response.
like, the influence, like, high, just sending
Right.
that letter in. Like,
Yeah.
why, I don't know why I did that. And again, that's just, like, a total thing of, like, God's plan and all of this.
Right.
Thank God your dad loved Dr. Phil.
I know.
You know? So
Yeah.
you had that.
just-
You were like, this is where I need to
He doesn't
go.
love him anymore, guys.
Oh, no. After the
Yeah,
episode?
it's like, grow some balls. Yeah.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
He was like, fuck that.
Yeah, fuck Dr. Phil.
Do they still film new episodes?
I think
so. I think so.
but I think he's about to stop. I think
He's
actually.
been going for so long.
Yeah, he's been going for a long
while.
time.
Shit.
But that's like why we went back on the show, because people were trying to like destroy, like say that he was feeding them like drugs and alcohol, like on the show and stuff.
Scandal.
And like we're like, dog, we didn't get anything. We wish
We tried.
We tried.
Yeah.
We begged.
Yeah, we begged.
The
Like
cameraman wouldn't even give us money.
wouldn't give us
Yeah.
anything. And they're saying like that they provided alcohol in like the dressing room and stuff. Nothing. They were like searching our bags to get in. We're like, what?
Is Dr. Phil a psychologist? Is that what he?
I don't
is
even think he's a
what-
doctor.
He's a
don't know.
TV doctor.
I don't know, but
He's got to be some
He's
sort
got-
of
you can't-
PhD.
I don't know. But he,
Yeah.
All right, hold on. I gotta
Yeah,
find
Google
out.
it.
yeah.
I gotta
Find
know
out.
now.
Find
He's
out.
got to be a psychologist.
That's what I would think.
Something, yeah.
He's
I
got.
don't know.
It's got to be a doctor of
He
psych.
went to
Somebody-
DeVry.
People Google this a lot. Is Dr. Phil a real doctor?
Yeah. It's like some sort of PhD in another country.
Yeah.
It's like you just, it takes 6 months.
He did like a trade course. Yeah, he did like a little.
He doesn't have a medical license,
yeah, see,
but McGraw has a doctoral degree in clinical psychology.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah.
okay.
Yes, that's different than medical, right? That's
Yeah.
a psychologist.
And he's a
is-
forensic psychologist as well.
yeah, yeah. That's not a medical degree, but you have a
Yeah.
doctorate, so you're a doctor.
He's
It's like
not, he's not, he's
Dr.
not
Lockwood is
licensed.
that.
He was on Oprah or some shit before. What was he
That's
on
how he
before
started,
Oprah,
on
right?
Oprah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
not
yeah.
licensed to like give people therapy. Essentially, is what it is. He's not licensed.
He's
but
licensed
he's like
to make-
he's educated.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Television.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Entertaining television.
And even though like he's not nice, but forever grateful.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
For shout out Dr. Phil, because that like show, and that's the thing. It's not like that. Like it's not like he like kept me sober. I do the work to stay
Yeah, for
sober.
sure.
I do all
But
the
he
things.
gave you the
He gave you the
opportunity.
But he gave me that opportunity,
Yeah, right.
and
Yeah.
like it's forever. I will forever be like.
Do you think
grateful.
it's all just like for the show though? Like, or do you think he's a nice guy?
No, that's what I'm telling you. Like we walked
like,
on,
no, he's
we walked on stage, and he was like, just shook our hands, and then he started going in on us, and like
And that's all the contact.
that's
yeah.
it. So like I think that we're in like talk with like the producers. I think that he literally just like opens up an envelope and is like, oh, like 3 heroin addicted sisters, piece of shit, blah blah, blah close.
Yeah.
Like you know what I mean?
Damn, he's good then.
Yeah.
Like switching that on.
And then boom, like goes into like he gets notes, you know, on us, and then that's it. And then
There was a lot of drama around Bad Baby too.
That's what I'm saying.
A lot.
Cash me outside.
Yeah, I mean, but
I
that put
should have
her-
said that.
Hey, she's
and I
killed
could
it
be.
for real. I'm not gonna
She's
lie.
and listen, I
Billions.
actually love her.
Yeah,
I'm not
she's
gonna
killed
lie.
it.
I know, I do too.
I love her.
Yeah.
And she's good at rapping too. I listen.
She even
music's
said
pretty
though
fire.
that like that was like she put that shit on just to
Yeah.
be on the show. Like she
for
knew
her.
that
That's what I'm
She
her
got
saying.
and
her
her
bag.
mom knew she was going to be on the show.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
And that's why, like, I should have said something crazy like that.
They sent her to a
But I just got a
wilderness
good.
camp.
I'm just happy sober life
yeah,
now.
yeah.
That's it.
You were also fucking shooting a bunch of
Yeah.
dope.
Yeah, I was
just
just
like saying, like trying to get through. You're like, fuck, am I gonna get the detox in time? Because I'm about to start kicking.
Yeah, so true.
you said let's just get this over with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She went on there for a fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking,
Yeah, she did.
Oh yeah, she was ready.
She
Yeah.
was ready to go.
Oh shit. Well,
Ask your question, Hunter.
Are you happy?
I am happy. I actually used to, every year on my birthday, when I would blow out the birthday candles, I would just say, like, my wish would be to be happy. And not even really knowing what that fully meant, right? Just chasing this feeling like of happiness for so long. And it wasn't, until like I, got sober and truly realized like it was right there in front of me the whole time. Like I was like in my own way, right? And I mean, I'm not always happy, like I'm okay, but guess what? Like someone once told me like, okay is enough for us, right? How many times did you just wish to be okay? So yes, I'm happy, grateful for my sobriety and this life that I live.
Come on.
Love that.
Come on.
Yay.
Thanks for coming up.
Thank you for having me,
much.
guys. I appreciate it.
Shout out Dr. Phil.
Yeah, shout out Dr. Phil.